Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk presented by True Classic. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. Ace is on his way. I know everybody freaks out when one of us is not here, especially the Bengals fans because it's Ace. But he'll be here. He'll be here also. Big shout out here to Adam Holing and Dom Gazzulo for being top tier Patreon. Thank you, everybody else also that supports us on Patreon. We appreciate it. It's another way to support the channel. How you guys doing?
Sonny, can I I have a question for all the for the Bengals. You know, chat usually is pretty lively before we get going. This should be a pretty lively week of chat, given that we're previewing Week 5, and Week 5 has a marquee matchup in the AFC North. And I would have expected, I don't know about you guys, are Bengals fans going soft? I haven't seen it. There's a certain 3-digit number that usually gets thrown around, especially around these times when these two teams are going to play. Haven't seen it once in chat today.
They're not feeling confident?
I don't know.
They have been quiet. I will say this. After the Steelers loss, haven't you seen the Bengals fans tone it down a little bit?
No, absolutely.
No. They've been barking when they like when it's a team they know they're better than, but
it's like,
but like, you know, because they've been barking about the Browns because they know they play us with Brissett. But like, I haven't seen them be like, yeah, Chiefs, like they were last year. Like they haven't brought up that sweep yet, even though they should, right? They should feel like they're better than the Chiefs. And they ain't brought up the Ravens yet. You know, it's been interesting, right? But they've been in my mentions talking about some, you know, we're going to be the premier team, even though I said they're the one team that could be. You know how Bengal fans is. You know, if you ain't saying all of it, you ain't saying none of it at all.
Here they are. Here are the 525s. All right, and we're back. Now it feels like Ravens Bengals week.
But it don't feel the same because they're not coming out here like 520 like they was, you know, before. It feels like we got to gulp them into being their usual confident self. You know, this is like when you hear about Kyle Pitts that they got to get him into the game. If he's a dog, he gonna get into the game before we notice, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying they feel different about the team this year. You can tell that the machismo is not the same from you Bengal fans. You know what I mean? Y'all used to be a lot, you know, more rough and tough about this thing. But
so Noah Stone Monday. They didn't have any Tom Brady super chat. Here it is.
He probably got the early word on this and was in mourning.
Yeah. Now Tom Brady has no reason to retire.
Now he spins. I love the spin zone. I see in Monday he's beat up about it. What's this going to do to Tom? By the way, I don't know if you guys saw Andrew Filipponi, who's one of the best Steeler tweeters of all time. He legitimately tweeted out on Monday, anyone who's been divorced, can you please DM me? I want to know how this is going to affect Tom Brady on the field. Like what an idiotic tweet. But I loved it because it's very Filipponi.
He's a troll. I seen some of his
tweets.
Is
he married?
He is married, yes.
Poor wife. Okay.
No, what did he tweet? He was like something about nobody putting the Steelers up there with the Chiefs or something like that. And I was like, you know what? He can't be serious like that. After that point, he tweeted something this week that was so ridiculous that it took me over the top, and I was like, this is art. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's as soon as Kenny came in, he's been
this is moment. It is like you know who I'm disappointed in when we're talking about this art? Colin Cowherd. Baker Mayfield putting up 15 QBRs, and I haven't seen him put up his best work. Now, Skip Bayless, on the other hand, Hall of Fame ticket being written right now. You know, if you had any doubts, that man is out there after 4 weeks of sub 20 QBRs talking about it can still happen, y'all. Like, it getting 25 minutes out of it, yo. That's like, y'all think we good. That's what good is on that level. Like, you getting 25 minutes out of saying Baker Mayfield still gonna make some. Even the most ardent Baker defenders on Twitter have given up at this point. Like,
true.
But not Skip. Gotta give it to Skip, man.
I saw a clip of him defending Baker, and I was like,
Yo,
why are you defending Baker? Hey,
you know that.
I don't know if you guys saw this. I talk about drive success rate a lot, and I talked last week about how the Steelers are so low, and even the Panthers are. The Panthers, when not only are they the worst in the league right now, they're about to set a historical. They're at 59% drive success rate, which I had to go back.
Got the lowest QBR after 4 games of starts of anybody since 2007, and he's still defending it. Like at that point, it's art. There's nothing to defend.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I don't want to put it all on Baker because, like,
it's not. It can't be all on. Nobody can be that bad unless they're just not an NFL caliber quarterback. Like, let me make that point clear. But I mean, if he was good, this wouldn't happen, right? Like, this is also the point too, right?
I did hear
this doesn't happen to a good quarterback.
The coach basically said this offense sucks.
It's his offense. He brought it from Baylor.
I know,
Mr. Rule.
They said the
defense do something about that.
And remember what I said? The funnest thing's gonna be once Matt Rule benches Baker, because those are two egos that cannot coexist.
Did we ever find out who the backup is?
No, but I thought Darnold's practicing.
Yeah, they say Darnold.
Okay. So they can
might get that boot. Are they playing at home versus the 49ers? Is this on the road?
It doesn't matter.
No. It does matter. Is this at home or on the road?
I thought it's at home, but let me check.
If it's at home, Baker's benched by halftime.
It's at home. It's at home.
It's at home, right?
Boy, unless Baker has one of the greatest performances of his life. And honestly, in this offense, that might be like 150 yards and like a touchdown in that offense. But there's no way they're gonna watch that, and just the boos are gonna become undeniable.
Especially if the defense keeps playing like they are, right? Like if the defense comes in and it's trash, and then you're like, well, whatever, we're gonna lose. But if the defense is like,
you can't even at this point say, "Hey, man, who we gonna go to that's any better?" It don't matter. Better.
Yeah.
Who's worse than right now? Put PJ. Well, at least PJ can run.
Don't you think? Against San Francisco, this defense can be really good, right? The Carolina, because San Francisco offensively has not looked great. So you're talking about a defense that might be.
Oh yeah, that's even worse. If the defense keeps them in the game, and then the offense just keeps going 3 and out, dog. That's that.
Which is what is happening, right? Their games have been close because the defense has been good, but the offense is so anemic. Their best performance was against the Browns offensively, and it was only a quarter. And it was a quarter.
Yeah, and
we gave them 2 of them.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let me read the super chats and then we'll go with the Steelers.
That sucks for him, man. That I told them not to do that. The Panthers was never a good idea for them.
But neither of them wanted each other, which is kind of weird.
They had mutual disinterest.
He should have stuck with it. He should have. I will pay my way out this contract to go back up somewhere. That's what I would have did.
And look at Geno. That was the other one, right?
Jameis.
Geno was on fire.
Yeah.
Jameis, it worked for James. Well, it somewhat worked because at least he's a starter now and he's not going to get benched. But you know what I mean? Baker Mayfield, like, I'm not lying. He could either end up on the SEC network before Oklahoma gets to the SEC network, or he can end up in the XFL in like a year or 2. Like, he's not going to be anybody's backup.
I think that he will be a broadcaster. I can't.
Yeah, he's
too much pride. Too much pride for the XFL.
I don't know. He might be like, I'm gonna do the walk-on thing again, and then that's walking on. That's professional walking.
So
on.
it's such a slap in the face for him to be in the
for
XFL.
a number 1 overall pick to be in the XFL. I don't want him to do it because then that makes the Browns picking him look even worse than like Sam Darnold, because damn, we drafted somebody who played for the XFL 1 overall. But I mean, he probably can play, like, if he just gets some things together. He's not this bad.
By the way, 2 things. Well, before that, Ravens should fire Harbaugh and hire Sean Payton. I've seen this a bunch. Ravens.
Yeah, just simply hire.
I love it. Yeah, I get rid of Harbaugh. I'm hardcore.
Sean Payton's going to be the new John Gruden, right? Remember in 10 years ago where everybody was like, "We should just hire John Gruden." Yeah, just simply hire John Gruden.
Yeah, they should trade Lamar and fire Harbaugh.
Yeah, trade Lamar, start Huntley, open up the offense.
Yeah, I think immediately.
What if they lose Lamar and then get rid of Greg Roman?
I mean, they might just completely, clean house.
If they lose Lamar, you might as well.
I don't understand. Like, what is going on in Baltimore that fans are? And I mean, I guess I would say the same thing about Cleveland. Okay, from the outside, as a Steeler fan, it's not that bad in Baltimore. Offensively, Baltimore is really good. They're only going to get better as they get that running game going. I understand that there are concerns defensively, but we know they have talent there.
It's none of that. They're just pissed with Harbaugh.
But why?
Because as I told you,
Monday, everybody just wants to fire their coach.
No, but is it the fourth down decision?
I told you, and then I look. I don't know the fourth down decision. It's the stupid answer that he gives me afterwards, right? Well, that's what the analytics say. But put me in AI. Just put a damn screen there, and the screen will tell them run this play. Don't tell me just the analytics dictates it. F that shit. You should know better. You can read the game how the game is going. F that.
It's an all-time Sonny quote right there.
Love that.
If you love analytic, just put a little tablet there. Just put an AI.
Hire the fucking tab.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yes. No, let Stockfish run your team. I agree.
So, anyway.
The Baltimore Ravens, coached by AWS.
Yeah, like Watson. Yeah, call Google. Hey, Google, you have a new AI? Yeah, put in him. Here's your test case.
The Baltimore Ravens powered by AWS.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Somebody needs to make that a logo. Just put the AWS logo.
Yeah.
We'll see how our fans react to that here. Okay, Cleveland media are proving they will call to fire Tomlin, Belichick, or any other legendary coach. This is ridiculous.
Well, you think that's ridiculous? I went to college in Youngstown, Ohio. So in 2013 to 2017, very good years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I heard every year from the Steelers fans that surrounded me? This might be Mike Tomlin's last year. I've had enough of Mike Tomlin.
It's going to start happening again soon. I mean, you're already here because the defense is falling off. So you're already hearing like the fire Tomlin stuff is coming. I mean,
but it's normal also.
Tomlin's got too many divas in this locker room. It's Tom. They will find here's the thing. Here's the thing when it comes to most fans and coaching. When you don't know what you're watching on Sundays fully and you don't understand it, it is easy to think it's the coach's fault. Because you know what the coaches, everything, like unless a wide receiver drops a ball, it's the coach's fault. And it's the coach's fault for coaching the player who dropped the ball. You can make coaching the problem for everything and anything. It usually isn't.
I will add this also. And this is a very particular Steelers-Raven problem. You see a shiny toy, right? Over there in the Rams, right? Any other offense, right? You see that, and the Ravens and Steelers are not power offense, right? And then you have a coach that's been, both teams had a coach for Ravens 15, I think Tomlin's 16, right? And I'm pretty sure Tomlin's 16 year. Okay, so you see coaches that's been there for a while, and you see the other offenses being all blah, 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 look at how excited we are. So fan base is like, oh, it's the coach. They don't appreciate. Right, I get frustrated sometimes with Harbaugh, right? And I criticize Harbaugh. I'm sure Tony does the same thing with Tomlin, but I'm not here to say fire Harbaugh like every game, because I do appreciate the consistency, because the Ravens have been consistently good for 15 years. I think we have one tank season. That's the one that Flacco got injured, like midway, and the Steelers had no season under 500. But the fan base cannot see that. They all can see it's like, well, we're not that excited team. And in the case of the Steelers right now, they're transitioning, right? So we'll see what they do. But the consistency, the appreciation for consistency is not for this fan base, because they see, oh, look at the Bengals has Zach Taylor in 3 years. Zach Taylor's there for 3 years, boom, Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Stefanski, he gets there 2 years later. The offense looked great, right? And they make the playoffs, and they had the Chiefs on the ropes. And then the Ravens and Steelers see two teams that had not have any deep runs in the playoffs, which is a fair criticism for both franchise, right? But they don't see the consistency that how this team have been good for X amount of years.
So in summation, most of the time people say fire the coach is probably fire. If the firing the coach is probably not the solution you should follow, unless you were the Bengals and you employ Zach Taylor. You should probably fire Zach Taylor.
No. Well,
okay.
All of this does not apply for Cincinnati, y'all. No,
how will you react if the Panthers beat the Bengals? Happy.
I mean, if Baker Mayfield wins one game and it's the Bengals, like a meme of the year, right? Like that then puts Cincinnati into the Hall of Fame of memes. Like we got to induct it on this show, right?
Yeah.
We got to put Cincinnati in all, retire the jersey. Nobody can ever wear 6 in Cincinnati again because Hall of Fame, right? Like if that the season he's having, if he has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns versus the Bengals, please, is that game in Cincinnati?
No, yeah, it's in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Okay, if that happens,
Is that a revenge game, Ace? Do you consider that a revenge game against Baker Mayfield?
Against Baker Mayfield, I don't see, like, when he's won, I don't think he's ever said anything too crazy.
Yeah.
So probably not. Like I'm sure he's probably had some snide remarks, but nothing that is probably on like the players' minds or anything like that. So
no, it's nothing like when Donovan Peoples-Jones put a picture of him scoring a game-winning touchdown 2 times, and it was like, I love Cincinnati on Instagram. He's never done something that bold.
Super chat here from Par One says we want the Harps gone since he showed 2019.
I always go back to this. Look, to fans who want to fire really good coaches, the grass is not always greener on the other side. You can. There have been people that have fired their coach and they bring in a new one and they think it's going to be great. And then like everyone points like they fired Dungy and got Gruden. They won a Super Bowl. Okay, yeah. I mean, then what did Gruden do after that though? I mean, that team got kind of running to the ground for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the whole, when Marty Schottenheimer got fired in San Diego.
Oh, and they
brought in Norv Turner. Yeah. And that was and then it has been a revolving door of coaches ever since. There was a level of consistency with Marty, and yes, he couldn't win big games. But then they brought in Norv, and Norv had some short-term success, never won a Super Bowl, but then it was a revolving door from there. The grass is not always greener on the other side.
The other thing, too, that people don't realize is when you switch coaches, right, you're going to have to switch schemes. There's going to be a transition period.
Yeah.
Personnel, like Quincy just said, there's going to be guys that are good on your team that might not fit the scheme, and they're going to get rid of them. So sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for because sometimes that can be a 2-3 year process when you change coaches.
Or you can be like, it's funny that Tony brings up Marty Schottenheimer. The Browns had Marty Schottenheimer, the original version.
Yeah, that's true.
Fired him, went through a revolving door for the 90s, hired Bill Belichick, and then fired Bill Belichick and then moved the team. And then Baltimore revolved until they got Brian Billick, right? Like, because they had somebody, they had one other coach before Brian Billick, right?
Yeah.
So, and then they've stabled out since then. But yeah, you're like, there are like sometimes it is time, right? End of Marvin Lewis, it was time, right? Like, but you would know when it's time, right? Like the Steelers this year, it ain't gonna be time because they have a chance to go under 500, right? That ain't time. That's just what the roster is, right? The year that like you got a bunch of like studs on the team and you still can't do nothing because you coaching like from the 90s, like okay, it's time, but you're gonna know when it's time versus when you just mad, right? It's like a marriage, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's time.
Yeah.
Other times
But
you just mad. You're gonna be all right in like 3 days.
Tomlin, a free agent. How many teams will freak out? Just been here's 10 years.
Many people would scoop up Mike Tomlin.
He would be out of a job for
Mike
hours,
Tomlin would get Mike Tomlin would get the Cliff Kingsbury treatment. He would get fired and get a promotion. All right, like okay,
GM and coach.
He would run football ops for a team. Get out of here. Mike Tomlin is never getting fired. Like Mike Tomlin get to choose when he retires.
Yeah,
like
that is a fact. He will never get fired in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Never happen.
Salute to A Sunny Q and Heel Tony.
They might give him an expansion team if Tomlin ever gets fired.
And here we have Tristan says, if Baltimore had a computer as a head coach, the pages would turn off the Wi-Fi. That's a good one. I love that. That was a good super chat. Okay, let's talk about Steelers. Steelers against a Bills team that had 2 close games, right? Miami and Baltimore, 1 loss and 1 win. Both road games. Sorry. So they're coming home. Bills Mafia over there. You know they like to be entertaining.
They're crazy.
What do you expect in this game, Mr. Tony?
All right, well, let's start with the line for this game because, I say a lot, that, I use hyperbole a lot, especially to refer to some of the upsets the Steelers have had over the past couple
years. This is like 14,
years,
right? I saw it, like 14 points.
Exactly. It's 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So when the Steelers upset the Bills last year, right, and we all consider that a massive upset, going on the road, beating them, they were 6.5-point underdog in that game, right? When they beat Cincinnati in week 1 of this season, big upset. They were 7-point underdogs in that game. They are 14-point underdogs. That is the most the Steelers have ever been an underdog since the merger, right? I mean, in like modern since the Super Bowl. Yeah, this is the largest they've ever been an underdog since the merger. So if they win this game, it's not hyperbole to say this will be the greatest upset the Steelers have ever pulled off if they actually were to go to Buffalo this time and actually win this football game. Now, can they actually do that, or what do I expect? Look, I expect to have a lot of fun just watching Kenny Pickett at this point, right? I mean, like at this point, expectations kind of out the window, and it's just more about let's just see what Kenny is. You couldn't put him in a worse situation, though. You couldn't start him off and say, all right, Kenny, let's put you out there against someone. Actually, let's put you out there against the best defense in football right now, a defense that is smothering and does not allow big plays. I mean, Buffalo's best asset right now is that they do not allow big plays. I think they've allowed like 5 explosive, as you would call them, explosive plays. And most of them have come on the ground, so it's not even through the air. I mean, they sit in that kind of too high shell. They have such discipline throughout. I mean, they're gonna rush 4. They have a good front 4. Von Miller's playing out of his mind, even at his age. You got Milano and Edmonds at linebacker, who are both so solid there. Their corners and safeties. I mean, it just seems like whoever they throw out there. They had this kid, Christian Bedford, who was just this new corner who was, just kind of plug and play type player. Because remember, Tremaine hasn't played it down this year, right? That's their number 1 guy, their star outside corner. He hasn't played yet. And this team, I mean, you look at some of the advanced numbers on this defense and what they're doing from a pass defense standpoint. I mean, they're far and away the best in the league. And again, they're playing without Micah Hyde. You look at their injury report, Buffalo's, it is like they're kind of walking wounded right now. But we record this on Wednesdays, and Wednesday is really tough to tell from a practice report perspective, like who's going to play and who's not. I think for the Steelers to have success in this football game, they have to be efficient offensively, right? I mean, we've talked about this all year about how bad the Steeler offense has been, especially early in football games. They just have not gotten off to start. They haven't gotten leads in any of these football games. In order for them to even be competitive in this one, they're going to need Kenny to go out there and do Kenny stuff early, which is be poised, be efficient, and just kind of move the chains, right? Nothing you would say about Kenny Pickett thus far has been overly impressive in that, oh my goodness, I can't believe he fit that ball in that window type of situations. But against Buffalo, no one's doing that right now. Buffalo asks you, can you just do the routine routinely? Because if you can, you're going to have some success. But when you try to do more than that, that's where they catch you. And so from Kenny's perspective, he's going to have to play within himself. I'm sure they're going to throw a ton of looks at him to try to disguise what he's seeing, because he's so good. Kenny's at his best when he sees when he sees the defense. He understands what he's looking at and can get rid of the ball quickly. But this is going to be Buffalo's going to be a good test of him as far as he loves to escape the pocket. He loves to kind of play on the move. The Kenny Yolo stuff we saw back at Pitt. I'm sure they're going to do a decent job of slowing him down from that perspective, and then giving him some looks where he is a little more uncomfortable. We have not seen Kenny really uncomfortable on a lot of looks. The one time we did, really in preseason or regular season was the interception he threw to Freiermuth. So it'd be interesting to watch Kenny from that perspective. Then the other problem with this game is if that offense doesn't get going, I mean, this defense isn't good right now. They are also the walking wounded. Every single starter in the secondary is on the injury report right now, except for Arthur Maulet. So we'll see who plays and who doesn't. Minka didn't practice today. Edmonds didn't practice today. I think Witherspoon and Wallace were both limited, so they'll probably play. But this Steeler team, the way that they won last year, the reason why they had so much success against Buffalo a year ago is they got pressure with 4. They dropped everybody back, and they confused Allen, and they got him into some spots where he wasn't comfortable. But this year's team has not been able to get pressure with 4 without TJ Watt, and they haven't done a great job of being creative to get pressure in other ways. So this is a huge, this is an unbelievably tall task for the Steelers on both sides of the ball. I don't know about you guys, though. This is one of those moments with Mike Tomlin where, and it's always this way with him, right? As soon as you count them out, as soon as you say like, all right, they're done. Steelers are done. That's when they shock.
Black Air Force Ones come out.
Wait, what? They beat who? I don't know if they can actually win this football game. I'm not going to predict them to win. I will probably predict them to cover, though, to cover the 14. The last time, by the way, they were this big of underdogs was Super Bowl 30. They were 13.5-point underdogs in Super Bowl 30. And for those Steeler fans who are old enough to remember that game like I am, we know we should have won that football game. If Neil O'Donnell wasn't a rat, the Pittsburgh Steelers pull off the greatest Super Bowl upset of all time.
Was
So I
that
won't predict the Steelers to win today.
That
was against it was against the Cowboys, the '90s Cowboys, the dynasty, 3 and 4 years.
You talking about
Yeah,
prehistoric football? No, I'm just
1995. 10 years old. What a terrible game. Neil O'Donnell's a rat. 2 interceptions. The Steelers did a surprise onside, and they had him. In that game.
They was wearing them Russell Athletic jerseys, man.
yeah, it was like it was definitely a different
big ass jerseys they used to wear.
Like sweaters. All right, so I will predict. The Steelers are gonna lose the football game, but like I said, I will predict the Steelers to cover and Kenny versus Josh Allen shootout. Give me the over in this one. Over 46.5. Let me see Kenny put some points on the board against Buffalo.
Question. One more over under for you. Over under 1.5 picks.
In this game?
No, for Kenny. Not even for the game. For Kenny.
Yeah, I say Kenny. Okay, yeah, Kenny in the game. I would say under 1. I'm gonna say one interception for Kenny in this game.
Okay. Q, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, guys, I think the Steelers used their upset card in week 1, y'all. Like, they get one here. I think they used it in week 1. When he pulled out the black Air Force Ones, we knew what was happening. The upset card was being pulled, and they did it. Mike Tomlin's good for 1 a year. I don't think so. I just don't think so. Usually like the Tomlin tricks, you can tell when it's going to be a year full of them. This just hasn't looked like a year where the Tomlin tricks are just going to be applicable, unless TJ Watt's out there, right? Is he going to be out there?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe clubbing off this week, but
they're not. I think this is a game in which the Steelers score 17, and in the Bills they could score 20, they could score 45. But I don't think they score 14, right? I think 17 is probably the cap for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. And don't be discouraged, Kenny Pickett fans, even though this might look like Johnny Manziel in Cincinnati that 1 year. But, it gets better. But, yeah, that's what I think. I don't think this is going to be a close game. I understand Mike Tomlin is a great coach. But there is only so much scheming you can do for Josh Allen when you just can't tackle him. And TJ Watt's like the only human. TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, they had 2 humans that could tackle him. If you got 2 that can tackle him, you're good. If you have 1, they can block the 1 and then not worry about the rest. But we gonna be trying to see Miles Jack and Devin Bush on blitzes trying to actually take down Josh Allen when we just saw Dafe Owe bounce off that man like bulletproof material. Like, nah, man. I don't think this is happening for the Steelers. It would be hilarious and it would be overall good for everybody else. And it would be good for this show. We would make a bundle on this show for the next 2 days. But we not getting it. This is not happening.
To your point about how, hey, Steeler fans, don't worry about Kenny in this game. Nate Tice said this on the Athletic show the other day. He said, look, you literally couldn't pick a worse 3 games to throw Kenny into, right? When you talk about not just Buffalo this week, but Tampa next week, who's the number 2 pass defense in the National Football League, and then Philly, who I think is top 5 in 2 weeks.
Trenches is nasty in Philly, man.
Yeah. Nate Tice said, look, Steeler fans, no matter what happens in these next 3 games, you can either throw out Kenny's performances because you say, hey, listen, that was the 3 toughest defenses in the league, or if he's actually good or anything close to good, then you found your guy. So it's
if he survives, if he survives this with an even touchdown to interception ratio, yeah, I might have to back off some of my Kenny Pickett slander, right? Because that's the goal. If he does that, I'm like, oh, he might be decent.
I wonder if Tomlin basically said he has pressure. You know what? I'm gonna throw this kid this next 3 games. If he survives, you know what? You guys were right. If not, I'm gonna bench him.
Mike Tomlin wants no part of y'all hyping up a rookie. He's like, nah, man, we gonna see if he's for real right now. He could have been nice and gave him the first 3 games, and y'all could have been excited. And then just no matter what, y'all would have had those first 3 games. So it wouldn't have mattered what he did for these next 3. But he's like, nah, we gonna see what's up.
I like this theory because the Kenny chant, which started in week 1. Or I guess the first
week 3 in the preseason.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, week 1 of the preseason. I was a part of that. They're in some ways the Kenny chants are kind of a it's an attack on Tomlin, right? So yeah, I like the idea of like Tomlin kind of giving it back to Steeler fans. Like, all right, you want Kenny?
You want Kenny? We'll see
Yeah.
what's up. We'll see what's up. Because you know who you really didn't want to watch during these next 3 weeks? Mitchell Trubisky try to throw a screen against these defenses.
Or Mason Rudolph, right? I mean, like, let's be honest. As you know,
oh God, nobody
Mason
wants to see
Rudolph
Mason
improved,
Rudolph.
Yeah, the only person I want to watch in this situation.
It's that Rick Ross Lizzo meme where it's like on one side it's Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph, and it's put a shirt on, and then it's Kenny Pickett doing the same thing. Empowered, encouraging.
Okay, Ace, what do you thought about this game, man? What's your thoughts?
Look, bro, I was trying to put some notes together for this matchup. This is what I got, bro. Nothing. All of the stats that I pulled together, like usually I line two teams up, right? I got Buffalo on top, I got Pittsburgh, and I kind of go and look through the metrics and give checks. Bro, there is a straight green line on the top of my data sheet right now in the form of the Buffalo Bills, because right now, if you just look at the splits, if you look at everything on paper, the Buffalo Bills really have the advantage in this one. The only one where they don't is possibly when you talk about defensive sack percentage, but this is a team in Pittsburgh without TJ Watt, right? You talk about the explosive plays. That's what it's going to take for Pittsburgh to really be in this one. That's something that they surprisingly haven't done too bad against this season. And when you look at the edge between those two, and then in the first half, they're going to have to try to get some points early, because if they can't match Buffalo's going to run away with this one. I think this one won't be close just because it's Josh Allen. It's the number one passing offense by splits. It's the number two pass defense by splits. They're just going to – and they're at home. Nothing in this game is going Pittsburgh's way. And then you talk about the fact, like Tony is saying, it's Wednesday, but if they're the walking wounded and they go into this game without either Minka or Cam Hayward, this one is going to get out of control, I think. And it sucks because it's unfair to Kenny Pickett. This shouldn't be the first matchup that he should go into, but this one is a tough one. Go ahead, Quincy.
I will say this. If they do go into that game without Minka and Cam Hayward, this does become one of them Tomlin games, right? Like the less they have, the better the result will be. If they go into this with like enough starters so we can have a reasonable – nah, they not. It's not. But if they go into this and it's just like, oh my God, Pittsburgh has nobody, that's usually when the Tomlinism happens. Like that's usually when they go down. Look, nobody knows the Tomlin stuff better than a Browns fan or a Steeler fan. Like we have the most intimate knowledge of it because they have seen it and we have usually reaped the negative benefits from it, which is Mike Tomlin is coming out there like winning a game for no reason. Like that's right. That's the Tomlin stuff. If nobody plays, I'm changing my tune. I'm dead ass serious about that.
If they win this game, this will be probably the most impressive one of the season. If we're just going off,
just give Mike Tomlin a gold jacket if he wins this game, so he can be on the sideline with it. Like we know he going in, but come on.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of like optimism around Steeler Nation of like obviously because it's Kenny's first start and everybody believes in Kenny, but like there's no tangible reason why a Steeler fan should actually feel like they're going to win this game other than the like, I think Kenny Pickett's the GOAT, right? I have the guy on my channel who's like, he's a cross between, what did he say? Joe Burrow, Joe Montana, and I don't know, so Tom Brady or something, right?
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if that's true, then I will give the Steelers some chances in this one. Yeah, I mean, like if he's that
didn't pick three slouch, huh?
Goodness gracious.
Who was the
Joe Burrow wasn't enough?
Throw Montana and Brady.
He was like, let me think of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Like,
John Elway. Just throw some John Elway in there too, while we're at it.
That's a great, yeah. I like that.
He doesn't have a strong arm like Peyton Manning, but he's
you got to do the mobility of Elway. Yeah. And then you add in Montana.
No, Stevie moved better than
Elway. What's the weather looking like? Maybe that can affect this game possibly.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Let me check the weather forecast for this one. Let's see, because I know it rained a lot on this. 55 degrees and cloudy. So
that's good football. Good weather.
Football weather.
Hey, so you have what? Steelers losing, I guess.
Yeah, I got the Steelers losing in this one, man. I wanted to look at any type of way to give them a shot. Like I said, it's going to have to be big YOLO plays. It's going to have to be plays from Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. It's going to have to be the turnover differential, which both of these teams are evenly matched. Buffalo's actually got the better turnover differential if you go by the split. So that's the only way. It's close though. It is close. I think Buffalo is number 1 for home, and Pittsburgh is number 2 for away. So that is the best way that they're going to be able to do it. And the only other thing that Pittsburgh has an advantage on is they don't have as many penalties as Buffalo. Buffalo's been doing pretty bad at home with the penalties. They're 30th in the league right now. So that's the only other way I can see it.
Wow.
Minka Fitzpatrick not going to tackle Josh Allen, and I think that's a problem.
If Minka Fitzpatrick is being asked to tackle Josh Allen,
that's a bigger problem, right?
Problem.
You might as well just give up the 6. Like, just give it up. You know, if this becomes one of those Josh rolls, right, and Minka's the only one there to stop him in the red zone, just go and walk in, Josh.
Yeah, that's not good news.
So
let me save my label.
Let me say just real quick, it's like Ace. I have not much to say. I'm excited to see the first Kenny Pickett game, to see if we become a meme, right? Like the 3 of us could become a meme if Kenny Pickett comes here and starts balling out. Because, yeah, you know that meme for Steelers fan, they have it saved just in case to throw it out to us.
They're gonna. If Philipponi got that on his phone.
They got the video. They got everything. Yeah, it's in the cut right now.
They can't wait to tag Old Takes Exposed on that tweet.
Yeah.
Not sure what you guys are referring to, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out on Monday.
So, saying that, I can see it. I mean, I cannot see it. The one thing I will say is the 14 points is a lot of points. I wouldn't touch this game to bet it. It's 14 points that scares me. And if I had to bet it, if you say, Sonny, here's $300 better or something, I'll bet it on the Steelers because.
You think Kenny covers?
Yeah, I think it could be one of those games that he covers.
Like late.
13. Yeah, sure.
But that
it's just 14 points too rich for my blood. Look, the one thing I think if you're a Steelers fan, you should get excited is if you see Kenny Pickett throwing it more like he did in the game before, to Pickens, to Johnson, to Firemouth, and he distributes the ball. He used the middle of the field. Use the middle of the field a little bit more, and then you can say, okay, even if you lose, who cares? You can see progression. That's what you want,
right?
The other guy that you really would like to see a little bit more is Najee Harris, right? Obviously, I haven't been high on Najee Harris since forever, but you drafted him first, a first-round pick, right? And running backs usually don't get drafted nowadays in the first round unless they're that guy. Well, this is his time. He needs to help his rookie QB, right? And everything, including blocking, right? Because if it is a pass play, Vaughn or Grousseau is coming from the sides, from the edges. He needs to go help pick up whoever's coming. If it's blitzing and Edmonds is coming in hot, you need to pick it up. He needs to do a little more for his rookie QB. I want to see what Najee does. Again, not even running game. Just throw in there in the flat, right, on the short routes to help Kenny in this game. With that said, Tony, you have to pay some bills.
Of course, football is back, baby. And our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso. Their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic already has helped 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer for a limited time only. Get 25% off with the code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word, at trueclassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you're wearing the wrong clothes. True Classics tees taper off towards the bottom, but they'll fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always feel confident throwing on. Not only are you getting a t-shirt designed for the male body, but the first thing you'll notice is how soft it is. The colors are prime too, and you can even match your team of choice. True Classic doesn't stop at tees. They're your one-stop shop for men's essentials, from polos and workout shirts with the same flattering fit to boxer briefs designed with a pouch to keep your bulge nice and comfortable. All their gear is top-notch quality at reasonable prices. They have a dope pack builder on their website where you can custom bundle all of their essential products and save even more than the discount we're offering you today. And for you defense-sized players, they even have long body options for tall guys and up to triple X on their staple colors. Whether you have abs or flabs, their clothes look great on all body types. Let's stop beer belly shaming and get better clothes. Men, let's be team players here. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and help your friends out by telling them about these tees as well. From Tall Steve's, Active Paul's, and Average Greg's, True Classic has your back. Get your fit together. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic, 25% off. And you got to use our promo code AFC North Talk. AFC North Talk, all one word, at trueclassic.com.
And we appreciate True Classic for presenting and sponsoring this video. Also, I will say this. You see it's a little tight on top, but the shirt is not uncomfortable, right? Sometimes you're like, it might be tight. No. This shirt is soft. Even though it fits tight, it just looks good, but it doesn't feel tight. Yeah. So definitely
I got mine's on right now. So comfortable.
There you
I've
go.
been doing my videos in this all day. I didn't even realize, like, man, this shirt feel good. Feel like I'm wearing air on my body right now. That's what it's like. It's like feeling air. You like being shirtless without being shirtless, but it's not like being shirtless because, bigger brothers, we don't like being shirtless sometimes because we be rolling. You don't be feeling like you rolling with the shirt. It gives you that shirtless shirt feel without the shirtless shirt, if it makes sense. Stay ready. So you ain't got to get ready. I'm telling you, what I mean? Got to get these shirts. # no titty sweat.
Tony wasn't here for that one, but it was a good idea.
Because Tony wasn't here, we got titty sweat.
Ace, I got to admit, the Ravens Tears water bottle prop last year was hilarious, but I hope Sonny is super petty on Monday. Shout out to you, Ravens.
We'll see.
Ace.
But the boy, whoever wins that game, will come out here on Monday with some petty. Like, come on now. There are some debts that need to be paid.
Ace, you weren't here to start the show, but I did have to get on Bengals fans in chat because I expected, I don't know about you, but I expect, we know chat's lively before the show starts, right? Didn't see a whole lot of 525s in chat today. And I just, they've come out since then.
By the way, Tony, 84-16. That was the poll results.
Steelers 84?
No, come on. Bills 84 and 16. Who they chose here says, Ace, we gotta destroy the Ravens, right? Gonna win by 20.
20 plus is a lot, bro. I don't know about that one. We'll get into it in that matchup, but no, I don't know about 20 plus.
They won by what? 24 and
there were two big margins. I can't recall those games. Yeah. That didn't exist in my book. Anime here says Cleveland media wants Garrett suspended. They want Cleveland to lose.
That's not true. What? Nobody in the media wanted it. It was just some bums on social media that were trying to get some attention. Okay, like that
he's back,
not the media. We got to stop saying the media for everything when we mean a dude on Twitter with 100 followers. It's not the media. And y'all be saying it to me like I'm not the media. I'm the media at this point. But yeah, no, that wasn't the media. Okay.
Mayfire here says, how zero pressure you still have Highsmith, Casey Hampton.
I don't understand this Casey Hampton stuff.
They love Casey Hampton.
It's random.
It's very random, but I wish they still had Casey Hampton.
They talk about Casey Hampton like he's Skip.
Listen, if they still had Casey Hampton, they would stop the run. I mean, that would be a massive upgrade for this defense.
Is Alu still out there?
Yeah, he got benched. Turns out, counting on a 35-year-old. Yeah, turns out counting on a 35-year-old coming back from a season-long injury isn't exactly
not a great idea. Huh?
Yeah, not exactly.
I mean, it worked out for Ben, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Evan here says, big fan of the show. Listen every day at work. Q. I'm gonna go to the Browns game this week. My first ever game. What's the parking like around the stadium?
I'll tell you what the parking like is around the stadium. I park at 55th and Huff train station and take the train to the stadium whenever I do it. And if you're from Cleveland, you know 55th and Huff, not one of them places you want to leave your car at on the street. But brother, I take that gamble because they be trying to get you $60, $70 to park downtown, and you still gotta walk 10 minutes. So yeah, the parking's a little rough. I don't know. I heard they don't run the train to the station. I would still take that train to Tower City and just walk from Tower City because I know it run down there. This is some very Cleveland advice I'm giving y'all, by the way.
Might have been cheaper to take an Uber, Q.
A Uber?
Yeah, is it cheaper to take an Uber there? I don't know.
Depending on where they head.
Depending on where you get dropped off, but you might get caught in one of them surges. The Uber there is not the problem. The Uber back is the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Gotcha. Tony, I'm not a Steelers fan, but if you won't, I will. Steelers 35? 24.
Guys, if Kenny goes out there and throws 35 on Buffalo's defense, cancel AFC.
Tony will be making a second appearance.
Yeah. No, I'm ruining the show.
This is what's going to happen.
The show ends if Kenny Pickett throws 35 on Buffalo.
If Kenny comes in and throws a 35 with no picks, even if he has a pick, didn't matter what happened in the Bengals Ravens. Won't matter what happened to the Browns either. It will be the Tony show.
No receipts unless the Ravens win by like 25. Then exactly. It depends. Like that will be a show ran by Super Chats. You know, I mean, we joked about the Ravens being ran by AWS. This will be a show ran by you, the viewer, from like PBS back in the day. This show will be brought to you by viewers like you because we will not be able to get to any of these topics.
Exactly. Feeling dangerous here says, "Hey Q, were you encouraged by Peoples Jones stepping up when Cooper had one of those Cooper games where he is kind of on milk carton? I thought he played well.
Cooper wasn't bad. They just bracketed him and it worked. And AJ Terrell's really good.
AJ Terrell's good, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. I was watching the tape. He blew up like 4-5 plays where he just killed the whole side. I was like, damn, AJ Terrell, that's cool. Yeah. So AJ Terrell's is really good, but also with DPJ, I'm kind of at the point to where I know exactly what he is and what he isn't. So like I don't get encouraged either way with him. He's a dude who could catch some balls, get 600 yards, but he runs really slow cuts in his routes, and that's always going to hold him back, and he's never going to change that. You know what I mean? That's his thing. That's the book. The book's out on DPJ.
As a Browns fan, I know who the Steelers are. They are the Undertaker. Every time I think they dead and they casket Tomlin's eyes speak open.
Undertaker had them like last 3 years where he was like, okay, it's time, Undertaker. But then he came back with that Boneyard match, and then and only then did he say, okay, now it's time. Once he looked decent, right? You know what I mean?
This is Kenny's Boneyard match.
Yeah. If Tomlin gets this is the Boneyard match. He could no more wins after this. It don't matter. You'll still have Buffalo, right?
I've been mad at the Browns all week, but then I think things could be worse. We could still have Baker.
Oh, Baker Mayfield being as terrible as he has taken the edge off of a couple of horrible Browns performances. Like, let's not lie here. Like, that QBR being lowest in the league, we go, you know what? Would not be better with Baker. Cool. So we're in a better spot. You know what I mean?
Mayfire here says meant Hayward.
Oh, okay. Got it. He meant Cam Hayward. Which, Cam's not having a great year thus far. You know, I mean, it's just.
Is he cooked?
We've been predicting this every year, right? We do the D-line thing, and it's like, when is the year that Cam finally falls off?
This was the year. This was the year.
Here's what he does, though. He will be cooked 1 year, come back.
He was good in the Bengals game. He was good in the Bengals game.
It's too early to say he's actually this is the end. It's only 4 games. He hasn't played. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been Cam Hayward.
He's missing his buddy.
Which the Cam Hayward standards are pretty high, right? Like, that's the thing about it. If it were any other player and they went out like Cam Hayward did, you probably wouldn't be talking about it being a fallout. But it's just because of how good he is as a player that, is going to be magnified from that standpoint.
Right, like break it to Cam, but now Grady Jarrett got that. Grady Jarrett and what's the big Logan? No, not Logan. What's his name? Big Jeff out there in Tennessee. They coming for that number 2 defensive tackle.
Chris Jones. Don't roll Chris Jones as well.
Well, Chris Jones, Chris Jones be playing edge too much for me to call him.
He does. He plays edge a lot.
I thought this year they were kicking him inside more.
They've been flipping him in and out all like the last 3 years.
You know what Chris Jones does? He does some BS. That penalty cost them that game.
I know.
I would. Oh my God. Yeah, this is why Sonny cannot be a coach.
Well, I love to have the Chiefs have a penalty cost them a game 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Who was that? That wasn't Jones.
It was Nick Sorensen's sorry ass.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. It was the white dude playing defense for the Chiefs. It's Nick Sorensen.
Oh, okay.
Daniel Sorensen. But
does he have a brother named Nick in the NFL too?
No. There's no way. There's no way 2 members of that family. Daniel Sorensen has.
There's another Sorensen. I think there's a Nick Sorensen.
Okay. Michael Lewis here says
Daniel Sorensen.
Brady really about to play another 20 years? And then Nova Stone comes.
Yeah, there is a Nick Sorensen. He plays for the Seattle. He plays for the 49ers.
You better tell Tom to get back to his wife, man.
Yeah,
might be a little late for that.
Tom Brady versus the Falcons.
Sounds like
he used to play for the Browns. That's how I remember.
Not good.
Yeah.
You said the Tom Brady undefeated versus the Falcons. Pick them, not Bills. That's for the pick. And by the way, since he said that, Noah Stone, we have 58 players, so we have some spots open. As soon as we get 200, that's it. We tweeted the link. I'll put the link soon also in the chat, but yes.
Oh, you're talking about the Survivor pool?
Yes.
Yeah, just be careful when you guys join because of the random name generator that it comes up with sometimes.
Yeah, a random name. Guess who Tony is.
Just be careful when you sign up.
Guess who Tony is. Bengals fans, you're going to appreciate that name. Greetings, AFC North. How's everybody doing? Well, we're good, man. Thank you for the super chat.
I know Bengal fans, man. They lost that game because at the start of the year, they lost their chance to talk about how they're going to sweep the North. When they've been talking about it all summer, they're going to sweep the North. Sweep the North. Oh, nope. Can't do it.
For gaming.
We're going to win it.
Laura here. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. Hello, Ravens fan. Here, I must say, I heard statistic that this year we were only behind for 14 seconds. Damn, that cannot be true. In the games, that is quite frustrating, but I believe we will do well this weekend. Damn, that is bad. By the way, we have a 5-game losing streak for those of you that don't know at home. Do you want to know what is the total point margin of those losses?
Oh, gotta be like 0.3.
No.
It's gonna be like 10 or something or 15.
Total. I think because they lost like 5 games.
5 games total. Yeah.
I think it's like 10 points.
So that includes 12. That includes the Miami game. That includes the Bills.
There's 3 3-point losses for sure. So that's 9. You need 2
I was going to say 12.
12. There's a couple 1-pointers in
there. It is 12. It is 12.
That was 12.
It is 12.
That's rough, man.
It is.
The bank.
My God. We get the box again today.
Box back. That's how you know you're popular.
Yeah, Steelers Undertaker, Brady, Brock Lesnar.
We'll see next week. Kenny versus Kenny. It's a passing of the torch next week. Kenny versus Brady. Brady's passing that torch next week.
Why is the dialogue around the Browns? Just need to make it until Watson gets back. Haven't they been losing in spite of QB play? I mean, they're 2-2, but with that transition,
2-2 because of quarterback play.
Yeah, no, not.
Well, I mean, they would be 3-1 because of quarterback play. Because I do think this week was like, hey, this is one of them weeks where if you had Deshaun, you probably win. But the last 3 games, I mean, they won 2 of them. In the one game against the Jets, you did have a 13-point lead before he touched the ball again.
So, Q, you have a game this week against a team that last year Williams was unguardable, right? I think it was.
Well, was he unguardable or unguarded?
Yeah, I think that's a better word, unguarded.
Great. It's the debate of our time.
Yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen this week?
I think this is the most fascinating football head matchup of the week because you just look at this and you're like, man, they did all that upgraded on the defensive line and in the linebacker room. Are they still about to come out here in quarters versus the Cleveland Browns? And the answer is yes. Brandon Staley is about to come out here in quarters versus the Cleveland Browns. Nobody has played anything higher than a cover 2 versus this team, right? And it's rare that they get a cover 2. It's been cover 1 under. You watch the Browns play, it look like a magnifying glass on defense because it's just one deep safety and a bunch of people right here, right? Like that's what the defense has been against them. This is going to be the first time Jacoby Brissett sees what looks like a normal, like, defensive situation. So I'm wondering, is he going to struggle more because of that? Does he get into turnover situations because of that? That is a concern of mine. I think that can blow this game up. But on the other hand, the Brandon Staley will zone up against Nick Chubb. Like, this is going to happen, right? Like, I don't think he's going to cloud, but he might as well. Like, he's not going to do the traditional stuff. So that means Nick Chubb's going to be able to get to the secondary. My question is, hey, are they going to realize that and just go with some more immediate runs instead of these big pools that they do when they have these 8-man boxes that take forever to develop? Because you don't want to do that this week, because Derwin James will just get up in there and stop that. But what you do want to do is get that ball to Nick Chubb, hope he gets past that initial line, and then just see what happens, right? Because as Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the best safeties of our time, knows, it's just very hard to tackle this man, right? Like, it's just hard to tackle Nick Chubb once he gets to the open field. So that's fascinating on this side. On the other side, what's fascinating to me is this matchup, right? Because everything traditionally would indicate Denzel Ward has to be on Mike Williams, right? Like, you would think that. But that's the last dude I want to see Mike Williams have. I would rather have the rookie on him, Martin Emerson, because Martin's physical, right, and tall, and I think that works better versus him. I'd rather have Greg Newsome on him because Greg is physical and he has quick feet. Denzel Ward, for whatever reason, gets cooked for at least 150 against Mike Williams every time he's seen him. You can go back to Ohio State. This happened to him. So that's a problem, right? Also, the Chargers stretch this thing vertically. Is this going to be the week where the Browns don't have a miscommunication on defense and they're able to figure this whole thing out? Also, Browns defensive line, like, just do you want to see the drastic difference between what having Jadeveon and Miles does for your defensive line versus not having those two guys out there? This is going to be a fascinating matchup. Both teams are really good at things that the other defenses are not good at stopping. But one team obviously has better horses for that, right? I think the Browns have a chance to win this game if they can. They don't need the big run from Nick Chubb, right? They get the 70-yarder, but Nick Chubb ends up with like 110 yards for the day. They're in trouble. If they get 125 yards and Nick Chubb's biggest run of the day is like 15 yards, ooh, that's where you want to be, right? You want them 6-7 yard chunks all day. You want to kill that clock and you want to just slow the game down to a crawl. Limit possessions because the Chargers, they need those possessions to get that volatile offense going. If they don't have the possessions, there is a chance that you can get some 3-and-outs just by chance, right? Because they missed a throw on third down or something like that, right? And that is how you get ahead in this game. Low margin of error. There is a pathway, but it's a low margin of error type situation. You need to get the chunks in the run game. I don't think you're getting any chunks in the pass game. This might be Jacoby Brissett throws the ball 10 times and gets like 5 receptions for like 50 yards. I'm fine with it. This is everything needs to happen in the run game. The chunk needs to happen in the run game. They have gotten a lot of personnel to get better at this. They're not going to have Joey Bosa, though. So this is where the Browns need to win the game. Ball control, slow the game down, and just limit possessions. You cannot turn the ball over this week. No turnovers. You have to be plus in the turnover margin. This is what you need. This is how you win. You have to win this game. I mean, like, I know Tony's nodding because this is a Steelers game plan, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
This
yeah.
is Mike Tomlin. We don't have it on offense. Let's do it. This is how they beat the Bills last year, right? This is what you need to do. If they can't do that, they won't win. If they can do that, they have a good chance to win because you have enough playmakers on the other side, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Myles Garrett, that you can get maybe 2 or 3 stops when you need them. But you're not going to shut them out the whole game. They're going to get to 20. You just need to make sure you can get above 20 playing it like this. Low margin of error, but the Browns have been playing that style of football all year, right? So there is a reason to believe that this can happen. And I think this is a game where both teams come into it very concerned because the Chargers know that the Browns can do this, but also the Browns know what the Chargers can do to them that causes problems. Can't have miscommunication. Can't give up quick scores either, right? If the Chargers score, not slowly, you don't want like a 17-play drive. That's a killer. But like, make them take 2-3 minutes off the clock at least. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, don't make it easy. But they're going to score. Absolutely going to score.
Here, give me a second because Tony's about to leave. At least I want his take, and then we'll keep going with you.
Oh, no,
Tony,
I'm done now, so you go ahead.
Okay, so Tony, you can do a quick take, I guess, on both games.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing about I gotta run. I'm going to the UCF game tonight, so I apologize that I'm going to run a little early here. But okay, this Browns Chargers game, like you said, super intriguing matchup. This will definitely find a way to be on a TV in my house because I do want to watch this one. This was an exciting game. I mean, this is a barn burner last year. But you look at Baker Mayfield. Like statistically, it looked like he had like such a great game last year. He threw for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean everything. Q shaking his head there. Like everything under the hood of Baker Mayfield in this game. Like they were so bad on third down in this matchup a year ago. It was 4 of 12 on third down. That last drive that he had. I mean, they just couldn't. They had a chance at the end to come back, and they couldn't do it. They have so many big plays to the Chargers. But this year's game, I think, is going to be played. It's going to be played differently in that I don't think it's going to be as big a shootout. I do think the Chargers will probably have some success offensively, but the Browns, I think, are just going to have to go on those like 15-play, long drive, exactly like Q said, right? And if we're averaging 4 yards a carry, but like right there, and it's like every time it's like 4, we can just consistently, every time it's convert on third down and move, which is what Brissett's done. I think the Browns will win this game. But then it's like, the Chargers, if they don't do that, the Chargers, I think, are going to hit some big plays in like this game. Here's the thing about this game. You'll know in the first quarter, whichever way you pick, you'll know in the first quarter if you were right or wrong.
If this game gets to halftime before 3, oh yeah. Before 2:30, Browns can win this game, right? Yeah. This is one of those games where it's halftime by 2. Oh, we cooking. If it's one of those games where we get to halftime last out of all the 1 o'clock windows, we are gonna have a long day.
I think you'll know in the first quarter, right? I mean, if Brissett and company get ball first and they go right down the field, the same they've done all year. I mean, all year they've done the exact same thing on this first drive. Right? They're just right down the field, bang, right? And I know they didn't score last week, but they had a great drive. If they do that, I think if you're a Browns fan, you're feeling pretty good about it. But on the opposite side, if you're a Browns fan and the Chargers get the ball and it's like, quick strike touchdown, and now they're down, now the Browns are down, they can't get any points and the down 10-0 or, once there's a point in this game, because Stu afraid to play this, we played this game a million times. There's a point at which it's like, you just know, okay, the margin is too great now. The game plan's over and we're screwed. And it can get there pretty easily in this one. This game's in Cleveland. I know last year it was in LA. I just don't trust this Browns defense. I just don't. I need to see it. I need to see this defense before I can actually trust it. I know Miles is coming back this week. I know LA's feeling real good because their left tackle, Saley or whatever his name is, played such a great game last week. I mean, it's very different when you're going up against whoever Houston has. Okay,
some dude named 15.
Yeah, I mean, like Houston, I think has one guy that we've heard of, and then everyone else is like guys I don't even know. And then, he's going to go up against Myles Garrett this week. That's going to be a tough matchup. And it's going to mean that they're going to have to chip or use Eckler, as a chip guy and not out of the backfield. And that's going to be tough for them. So, but I'll still go Chargers because, again, I don't trust the Browns defensively. As far as the Bengals and Ravens game goes, I'm so glad this is on Sunday night so I can see every single minute of this one because this is fun. You could not have this game come, I think, at worse times for either team because both teams feel like they can win this football game, but neither team is really where they want to be. I mean, I don't think either Sonny or Ace would tell you we're at full strength right now. Like this is where we are playing at our peak potential. For Sonny, obviously he's coming in, and he was obviously MFing that entire game last week. He told us all about it. If you didn't listen, go back to Monday's show. But I don't think the Ravens are playing
with Patrick Quee was missing tackles. Like, I can hear him from London.
All the way from England, yeah.
Exactly.
I was at the game, like, who is that?
Look, the Ravens they're not a bad football team right now, but there's a ton of questions like at every level I have about them. Who even are they offensively? What do they want to be? Can they run the ball yet? Are we sure that this offensive line is going to hold up, especially given that this Bengals defense is formidable, especially from a defensive line perspective. And then you look over on the Ravens defense, and there's all these question marks about can they defend and whatnot. But this is the perfect style. They have the perfect defense to play the kind of cover 2 style. I understand that you don't want to play Peters and Humphrey as cover 2 defenders, but they can run a lot of inverted stuff. They can run, a too high shell in a lot of creative ways. They're going to need to get pressure though. And I don't think they can do pressure with 4. Sonny will talk to us about that later on in the show about what an issue that's going to be in this matchup. So then going to the Ravens offense versus the Bengals defense. Look, I did have this thought this week, and I'm going to steal this line from my favorite podcast, the Cover 3 podcast. Bud Elliott always says about a team that, he's a little weary of. He says, what's your favorite performance here? And I'll say this about the Bengals defense. What's your favorite Bengals defensive performance? When they beat up on Mitch Trubisky, when they lost to Cooper Rush, when they beat Joe Flacco, or when they beat a backup quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, right? I mean, it's not exact. Look, the Bengals defense is good. I think we're all okay with saying they're good, but this offense is clearly going to be the best one they've faced all year. Teddy Bridgewater coming in that game last week, he made the big mistake late. He was at the 25 looking to score and made the big mistake last week. Lamar's going to be the best test they've had, but they've had success against Lamar. Even that game where Lamar did play the entire game, Lamar, it wasn't like Lamar was up and down the field in that one, but they couldn't run the ball. Can they run the ball in this one? That's a big question for me. Can they run the ball in this one? I'm going to pick the Bengals because I just don't trust. I don't trust that the Ravens are actually going to run a scheme defensively that we know works against Cincinnati, and they have the personnel to do it. But I don't actually trust in Harbaugh or that new DC McDonald, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. I don't trust that he's actually going to run something that's going to be successful. I think he's going to try and put Peters on an island, try to put his corners on an island, try to manufacture pressure through bringing 5 and 6, and that's going to leave open lanes for Burrow and one-on-ones. And I think we're going to have another game of big play Bengals, and they win this football game in Baltimore. So I like the Chargers to win, and I like the Bengals to win.
Tony, I know you have to leave, but I just wanted to put the super chat for you there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen. I agree with you. I think UCF's a better team, but I think the hurricane stuff and where have they been practicing, how much of their families were affected. I can't bet this one. I can't bet it. I'm just gonna have fun watching.
Oh, come on. You're not gonna go for the emotional Saints victory. You know what I mean?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we're going. That's right. We're going UCF. Lay the points. UCF big tonight, and I'll take the over too.
It's gonna start with the block punt and everything.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
You see, Tony, have fun, bro.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Take care, bro.
Okay, so Ace, going back to Browns and Chargers. My thing, nobody has. Well, Ace hasn't talked, but I had zero confidence. Zero. So I would like to hear what Ace says about this on the Chargers coming to the East Coast. I cannot remember a Chargers. I mean, this is recent history. Playing good when they come to the East Coast. They came here, we trunked them. They had come to Cleveland a couple of times and they lose to Cleveland, even when Cleveland wasn't good and they were good. I cannot.
Oh, yeah, they did lose to us. I forgot they were the 1-1-15.
Yeah.
And they were not bad that year. They almost made the playoffs. I was
really preventing them. Anyway, Ace, what do you think of this game?
Yeah, this one I think really comes down to who's healthy, right? We talk about Myles Garrett hoping that he's going to be back. That's going to be major, I think, in this game. We talked about Bosa being out. We also talk about Rashawn Slater being out. So if Clowney or Myles Garrett is in this game, I think that they do have a strong impact on this. I'm assuming Keenan Allen's still out. Njoku's got something. I'm assuming that he's going to play. Cleveland's at home. This one again, very close on the turnover differential. If you look at the splits, 12th and 13th, it doesn't get any closer to that, right? Whoever wins the turnover differential in this is likely going to win this game. I think Cleveland in this game needs to rely on special teams. That's one of the only weaknesses, believe it or not, that the LA Chargers have. They are, according to DVOA for special teams, 26th in the league. So obviously that's something that Cleveland can take advantage of with field position, not just field goals and stuff like that. Obviously they got to get those. But you talk about net punts and things of that nature. That is something that they're going to have to have in this game. Look, the Chargers, even on the road, have the number 2 passing attack in the NFL. I think Quincy said was right when he talks about Denzel Ward and Mike Williams potentially being a problem. They're going to test this secondary. I think on paper, we obviously know that this Cleveland secondary is talented. That's going to be a theme of this game because the Chargers, they're going to pass the ball. They don't really like to run it. They kind of do that on purpose. So we're going to have to see what they can do. And I think early on, believe it or not, I've seen a lot of tweets circulating about the Cleveland defense in the second half. Believe it or not, if you look at the splits at home, their defense is actually giving up more points in the first half. They don't really give them up in the second half at home. That's something that they're going to have to limit in this game, I think, against the Chargers. Now, when we talk about getting to the quarterback, they're going to need Myles Garrett in this game because when you look at their defensive sack percentage at home, they're actually not doing too well in comparison to the rest of the league. They're 25th right now in that. That's why they need Myles Garrett in that game. You talk about the Chargers. Yes, they're missing Bosa, but you can't forget that they still have Khalil Mack as well, who's having a crazy year. I think 5 sacks on the season. So that is going to be a factor in this game. Can they protect Jacoby Brissett? The offensive line, in terms of their sack percentage, they have a pretty good value there with 13th in the league. So they usually don't let too many guys touch Jacoby Brissett. That's going to be a key factor. Keep Khalil Mack off of Jacoby Brissett because that is just going to cause a lot of issues for them. These are two teams that are top 5 scoring offenses. I mean, this could be a game that you might have to just throw the defense out the window. Like, we're talking about these guys, and I just talked about edge rushers, but this very well could be a shootout with these two teams going head-to-head. So I wouldn't rule that out either. When you look at it from the penalty standpoint, that's something that the Browns have to cut down because for some reason, I don't know how, the Chargers are not really getting that many penalties on the road and away games. So that's something to keep an eye on. But in this game, it's tough for me to call this one. I'm going to go with the Chargers just because I don't know if I trust the Cleveland pass defense in this game, especially with what Quincy is telling me about Denzel Ward. And if Myles Garrett isn't in this game, it's definitely, I can't see it with no Myles. If Myles is in it, I think that they can.
Well, Myles practiced today.
You said he did practice today?
Practice.
Okay, so Myles is in the game. That's a huge factor for them. I think the way that they can win this game, though, running the ball, keeping it out of that offense's hands. I don't think, like, the one thing we talked about last week earlier this week was the Browns' run defense. I don't think they have to worry about that in this game. You know, the Chargers don't really run the ball like that at all. So that's not something that's going to hurt them. So I think if they still play their brand of football, running the ball, getting that team off of the field, making sure that they don't score, I think that Cleveland can win this game. But it's going to have to take that for them to keep this offense off of the field, and that defense is going to have to step up. And I think it's going to have to be early in the game, not in the second half. I think they're okay in the second half. Has to be in the first half where they can't let that offense get off to a slow start, slow them down. And I think if they can do that, force turnovers, they can win that game.
So you had but who you have?
I do have the Chargers, though. I do have the Chargers in this game.
Okay, so for me, it's an interesting one. I think if we want to just boil it down to like what are the main key matchups as I see it is, how is this running defense for the Chargers gonna be against the running attack that the Browns have? And on the other flip, how's the Browns passing defense gonna act when Herbert tries to go deep, right? The Chargers know they have success last year, so they're gonna try to test that. But
I just remembered that John Johnson's been terrible in these situations.
And how hurt is Herbert? Like, I know he looked good last week, but the week before that, it wasn't.
It's ribs injury, right? So if you get hit, he's gonna feel it.
Well, right? From what I've heard from them, they don't think it's a thing anymore. They think he's just fine. Like from who I've talked to about the Chargers, he did have a rib injury. I mean, some dudes, it don't matter. Some dudes do. He didn't get hit that much though last week.
No, that's fine. I guess that's my point.
When it's Myles Garrett coming after you.
Yeah,
I remember the pregame.
And then remember he didn't play well versus Trevon Walker and that defensive line that they got down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Right. So I remember pregame in the Chargers game last week. They were like, let's see how Herbert is looking. And then they were like, oh, he's looking good, so he's gonna go get his injection now. So I'm assuming that's what they're gonna do for this game. So saying that, I mean, this is a game, like Q said, if it's moving fast, it's because the running game for the Browns is cooking. And if the running game for the Browns is cooking, what that does is also puts that Herbert on the sideline, right? It's a double. It's a double win. And then if it's cooking like that and it's scoring touchdowns, that puts even more pressure on the offense of the Chargers. Look, I'm picking the Browns, to be honest. The reason I'm picking the Browns is because I had no faith in the Chargers going East Coast. I think if this was a neutral site, then I would lean Chargers. But dude, I've seen so many bad games. Not even like competitive games, like these bad games every time they go east.
Were they at Jacksonville?
No, I think you're. Hold on.
I think that was at home. That was in LA. I think they came east against the Bengals, though. They beat us last year. Because I was out in LA thinking that I was going to be able to go to the game, but it was actually in Cincinnati.
That's a hell of a feeling. Because you probably had it, you didn't even check right until you got there. You was like, "Oh no, it's gonna be," and then you was like, "Why is it no?" All
right.
Anyway, I think it's gonna be a good matchup, though.
For sure.
I think, though, you know how we say that the Falcons are a good offense, but they don't feel like a good offense. That's, I think, where we are in Cleveland, right? I think they're a good offense, but we don't feel it because we're just used to see a good offense being a passing attack, and Cleveland does it different. I mean, Baltimore's in that you can put Baltimore in that sphere as well. If Cleveland dictates this game in time of possession, and that's what I think is going to happen. By the way, I'm gonna go with Cleveland by 3. So Cleveland by 3, whatever the score, 27-24, 27-24 Cleveland. I think it's gonna be a good game. Definitely a good game.
I think it might be high scoring, bro. I really do think that this one.
I think that's what Cleveland doesn't want, though.
You know I know this game's probably gonna be like an 80% chance. Butt clinch up.
Yeah, for sure.
Lemon booty game. I already know it's gonna be lemon booty season. Like these, I know fans are like, "Oh, the Browns are up these next 7." It's gonna be. We're going to be like this the fourth quarter for the rest of these games until Deshaun Watson come in. It just is what it's going to be.
I agree. No, I agree. I don't think it's going to be a high-score game. It's just for the fact that if the Browns are slowing the game, right, moving the clock quicker, but slowing the game as they're just running and just taking their time and doing long drives, and that's where the Browns want to live in this game, and then hit Jacoby with easier completions. It's just the game's gonna go too fast for it being too high, unless the Browns are just putting a 9-minute drive for a touchdown, and then the Chargers come back with a 3-minute touchdown, right? And then you're
like, one of them, we put together a 14-play 9-minute drive, and then Mike Williams, oh my God, exactly. Oh boy, we in trouble.
Exactly. Okay, and with that, we're gonna move to the marquee matchup of the week. Bengals, Ravens. I'm gonna go start with Q because Q's the only neutral party between the three of us, right? I want to see what your take is.
So this is an interesting game, right? Because I have questions about the Ravens secondary. I know Sonny disagrees with me, but I still got questions about the viability of Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey to be what they've been built up to be. Now, again, there were a week for them to show that this is it, because Marlon Humphreys especially got embarrassed the last time these teams played, right? That was 525, and like 525 is cool and all, but like 262 was nasty. Like was that what he had? Did he have 262 in that game?
It was something crazy.
Did he have a bulk of the 525? Like, that's nasty, okay? To one person, that is absolutely nasty. So we'll see what Hump got. If Hump can't keep Jamar Chase under 200 yards this week, Hump ain't got it like that no more, because that's not something you let happen to you 2 times in back-to-back years if you're still that guy. Bengals offensively, here's where I lean towards more of the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're more motivated for this game, and I usually don't go games off of that, but like they got dog walked 2 times last year, and then like, exclamatories were said. Like, and then also I think Baltimore is in a situation where if Cincinnati is not going to be efficient with the football, this is the week for the Bengals to the Ravens to get the turnovers, which they've proven they can get this year, right? The turnovers are going to be a question. And also, hey, if this is the week the Ravens could get the run game going, because we all know the potential's there for it, this is the week you need to, because the way you beat these volatile teams that can score a lot, but they need some possessions to do it, is just not give them possessions, right? Take the ball away, control the clock. If you can do that against the Bengals, then it's harder for them to get to their numbers offensively, because they just have less chances and they're not an efficient offense, so they need more chances like that. And that's part of where the Ravens can have them, because the way the Ravens play offense is, even if they go 3 and out, which they won't go very often, they aren't a team that's going to like not take any time off the clock or limit possessions just by how they play offense. So even if they don't score, is I guess a better way to put it, they'll be fine. Also, the Ravens have that ridiculous field goal range at home, right? Like, so they have that advantage there too. I'm going to lean more towards the Ravens. I think they're able to successfully play ball control. Is DJ Reader back?
No, he's not in this game.
Is he out for the year?
For a while, right?
No, he's on IR, but he probably won't be coming back until like 3 or 4 weeks from now, maybe 5.
Okay, so no DJ Reader. See, if DJ Reader was playing, that would be a different story. But no DJ Reader. For the Bengals offensive line, which I feel like it's been not noteworthy the last couple of weeks, so I don't even know whether to factor it in. Always good. I think he can get like I think always. I know, Sonny. I know. Always good. Like, I think it was just unfortunate because he might have had the game of his life if that quarterback is anybody but Josh Allen last week, right? Because he was really just smoking Deion Dawkins off that. Like, it was just hands. Like, it was some good stuff that he showed there. It's just he couldn't get home to save his life. I want to see if he's matched up against Jonah Williams a lot. Jonah does not handle those more athletic edge rushers, right? Like, he's not been the greatest at that. If there's a hole in his game, it's athleticism. He's a strong guy. He's strong as hell, but if you can't really beat him inside, right? So if you put a Clowney against Jonah, whose strength and inside leverage wins him a lot of matchups, Jonah's going to handle that pretty well. But Miles, sometimes that gives him problems because Miles can go around him, and that's what Odafe can do. He can go hands around Rip. And there's nothing that Jonah, well, not nothing, but that's not something that Jonah is great at. So they might be able to get pressure there. I think matchup-wise is going to be fine. My boy, Mata Bouquet! I just want to see him have a good game on national TV so everybody else can get hyped for the Mata Bouquet era in Baltimore. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Tell you, Q, it's Mata BK because he likes to correct people. Mata BK.
Mata BK era. My bad, brother. Mata BK. All right. It's going to be the Mata BK era out there. We're going to talk about this as the Baltimore, not the Baltimore Ravens defense, but the Mata BK Ravens defense. He's right here.
He's been balling.
The boy been good, man. I thought it was just because what was his name? He came over from San Francisco at guard. Play for the Jets. I thought it was because he had an off day. Nah, he's been good. The tape's been great. Wish the Browns would have drafted him. What was he, a 4th round pick?
I think it was either late 3rd or early 4th. Yeah,
I'm just saying, man. If I get a job in the NFL front office, this is only going to be at D tackle because I have an eye. But Perrion Winfrey been playing better too. So I think the matchups lean towards the Ravens. I think the Ravens going to be able to come in there. Ravens been playing better football than the Bengals. Like, I know the Ravens, they're frustrated because they blew a couple of games they shouldn't have blown in the 4th quarter. It's rough, but we're talking about the Dolphins and the Bills that you were up like 20 points on. Those are 2 of the best teams in football. If they lose those games in literally any other way, I think we're much more positive about the Ravens, but the Ravens have a claim to be 4-0, and they played 2 of the great teams in the NFL right now. Now the Bengals, they do get credit because one of those teams that they have beaten is the Miami Dolphins, and I think as each day goes by, the funk on that Cowboys loss just isn't there, right?
No, they're playing great.
Yeah, Cowboys, that was funny for a week, but now it's not a joke no more. The Cowboys are 3-0 with Cooper Rush.
Yeah,
4-0 with Cooper Rush. You count last year's start. So I do think the Ravens are going to win this game. I think they're just playing better ball right now. I think in a game like this where the Bengals' inefficiency can be something that hurts them, right? We talk about flaws that can't hurt you against every team. But this is one of those teams that can hurt you with it. I think this is a Raven get-back game. I think they win this one at home and end up splitting the series overall. But that's my thoughts.
Okay, being us at home, I'll give Ace the first take. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, for me, I think this one is going to come down to the defense being the X factor. The Bengals defense, literally why they were constructed, right? When Zach Taylor came in, the Ravens were the eye of the division at that point, right? It was how do you stop Lamar Jackson? How do you build a defense for this? This is why they went after athletic linebackers like Logan Wilson. You talk about Jermaine Pratt, some of the guys that they got, DJ Reader. Like literally that's what the Bengals kind of tried to mold this offense to do. try to be able to keep up with a Baltimore Ravens, with a team that can run the ball, do some things. You got to have guys that are athletic, that can move in space to keep up with LJ. So defense is going to be an X factor. They're doing pretty good in DVOA this year. Seventh, run defense is going to be critical, right? Without DJ Reader, this run defense was pretty solid last week, right? But you need to be on your P's and Q's, especially against Baltimore, a team that even when people are saying that they're struggling with the run, are 7th in the league. So definitely can't take your eyes off of them. And then you talk about Dobbins last week, starting to get things going. I think Gus Edwards may be back this week. I'm not sure
practicing. He's practicing.
He's practicing. So you got to just keep your eye on the swivel on that. When it comes to this, I talk about defense being an X factor. You're talking about the 4th scoring defense versus the 4th scoring offense if you go by splits in both of these situations. This is going to be one where we're going to see which one cracks first. But the offense cannot leave it to the defense in this game to just do it all by themselves, because the Ravens are going to put up points. Lamar Jackson is going to score, and they're going to have to get off to a fast start, because the Ravens, believe it or not, if you look at the splits at home, they're the number 1 team in the NFL when it comes to scoring points per game in the first half. So this is not a team that you can rely on your offense doing 3-and-outs, punting, things of that nature. You got to be able to match them, because they're going to light the match of that offense pretty early. Then you also have to take advantage of the defense. Baltimore in the second half, points per game, they're 26. They're giving up the most at home, or the 26th most at home in the NFL. You've got to attack that defense in the second half. You got to take advantage of some of those plays late if you do get off to a sluggish first start. Outside of that, these teams don't like each other, bro. We know it. Everybody know it. The fans been talking this whole offseason. But I think that this is going to come down to being a good game Sunday night. I think if the Bengals can protect Joe Burrow and keep him upright, I think that they have a pretty good chance to do something in this game. They're probably going to bracket or double cover Jamar Chase. Why wouldn't you after the game that he had last year? If they don't do that, I will be super confused. That means T. Higgins is going to have to step it up. I think you're also going to have to get some plays from Hayden Hurst, a guy that might fly under the radar in this game, especially with the 3 receivers that the Bengals had. I think if they can do that, they should be okay. I think that the run game, I know Mixon has talked about meeting with the offensive line, them having a players-only meeting, trying to get the run game on the right page. I don't think it happens in this game. I think the Baltimore Ravens are too good against the run for them to have success that way. They're going to have to do better than 2.5 yards per carry, but this can't be the game that you really rely on the run defense to win it for you. So I've got the Bengals winning this one slightly. I think I'm going to go with 30-27 Bengals.
By the way, we did have to vote for the Browns Chargers. They had Chargers up 58%. Winning, or at least that's our fan. Right now we had the poll for the Ravens Bengals. Okay, look, I will say this, Ace. If Mixon can break that first level of the D line, we have had some decent runs against the Ravens, because Patrick Quinn would just pass you by, and then he will realize, oh shit, the guy has the ball. So he would do that. Okay. I think if you tell me, Sonny, like where it is, like if I have to watch one thing, what is the one thing that if the Ravens do on a high level, it's almost a short W, almost, right? There's no such thing as a W, a short thing. Pressure at 4. If they can create somehow pressure at 4, because McDonald versus different from Wink, he will throw you, here's 4, drop 7. Then this game tilts the Ravens' way. Because I think the secondary, I mean, if you go and watch that Dolphins game, that was atrocious. Other than that game, it hasn't been that the Ravens' secondary has just given up play after play. Against the Patriots, Armour Davis, and he got benched. Right? He was inactive. They were like, yo, you obviously you're a rookie and you need time. But they have done a good job. Obviously, the Bengals hurt us last year. They hurt us badly. They did a good job against the guy Stephon Diggs from the Bills. They did a good job containing him. He had one good route that he got, I think, a 20-yarder. For the most part, they kept him quiet. The safety has been good for Baltimore. This is a game, if Burrow throws a bad pass, he's going to get picked unless it's Patrick Queens. But any other player, he's going to get picked. Yeah, if he's going to force a ball, just look
unless it's Patrick Queen or Odafe Owe in coverage.
Yeah. If he wants to force the ball, right, like he's getting pressure, just look, Queen's there, just let me throw it there. It's going to be incompletion, right? If he's not catch, it's going to be.
It might get tipped into a completion.
It might get tipped for a completion. Who knows? But I think for the Ravens, look, pressure is key. Pressure is key. And the Bengals, obviously, their O-line is still trying to gel. So pressure is the main thing. Odafe Owe, look, the biggest problem with Odafe, and I have been trying to buy in an Odafe hype, which I have, exactly. It's because I miss
that thing back on to get it right.
Yeah, I miss. You know what? I'm wearing my Odafe Owe jersey during the game because I miss having a good pass rusher. I do. JPP played like 90-something% on the snap. Expect him to play that again. If between both of them can pressure and Odafe can finish some of his sacks, then that's gonna be good, right? Obviously, Marabuke has been great, not only on the run stopping and the inside pressuring the quarterback from the inside. Brandon Washington also, Calais Campbell also has been playing. So the interior defensive line has been good. I want to see what they do against the Bengals. Linebacker is the big problem. And the good thing is the Bengals are not running well right now, but that linebacking core for the Ravens hasn't been great. And it's not great right now. Like Josh Bynes gives you some good plays, but Josh Bynes is like 80, right? So he can only give you like 10 or 15 good plays, and then he needs a break, which I appreciate his effort. Dude is super smart when he's on the field. But as I told Ace when they got him, like you can't have him as a reliable down-to-down back. That's what Queen is there for. I would say Kyle Hamilton has been playing way better, especially after he got cooked in Miami. Not cooked, but he forgot where he was supposed to be. He's been playing better. The Ravens will throw you 3 safety all game long. They will bring a safety down. So it's not like 3 safety cover deep. They will bring the safety down. Which to the safety you don't know. That's how Hamilton got like sleeping because he was supposed to be the one bailing to the cover 2 and he forgot about it. But yeah, this is a game that I'm expecting, as Ace said, to be bracket for Chase. They're gonna say if the other 2 beat us, whatever. I actually think if they're gonna bracket Chase, they're not gonna put Humph on Chase. Because you're gonna bracket, then you can say, okay, Humph, go get T. Higgins. We're not gonna bracket T. Higgins. It's gonna be a more one-on-one matchup. And I mean, that's what I would do. And then you can put Stevens or Peters on Chase, hoping that if he gets beat, he has safety over the tap or on the boundary, right? So that's what I think they might do. McDonald, as the year has gone by and see, well, I don't have Michigan. I don't have the Michigan defense that I can have 2 great rushers here just going and dropping the rest. He has upped the pressure. So you will see some blitz where he wasn't blitzing enough. Now, if we go on the offensive side, who scared me the most here? And again, I'm a sucker for trenches. It's, you know who it is, Ace. It's your 94, right? I think it's 94. No, it's not 94.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah. Is he 94?
Is he 94?
No, that's Sam Hubbard.
Oh, okay. No, the Henderson.
Is Trey.
Hubbard doesn't scare me. Because he's also
with the sleeves on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He goes to the left side, right? And on the left side, even though Falele, I thought had a strong game, especially for 4th-round rookie project, right? There's different grading scale here. 4th round rookie project, he had a really, really strong game. Well, I don't have that confidence against Hendrickson. Macari started practicing, but Macari is a guard that was playing left tackle, and Stanley has been practicing for 3 weeks straight. Is this the week we see Stanley? I don't know, but that is the key for me, whoever the left tackle is, right? Because I cannot tell you right now who the left tackle will be in this game. Falele obviously scares me the most. Actually, Stanley will scare me the most, or second most, because he hasn't played for 2 years, right? So he's gonna be rusty. Macari was playing great, but obviously he got injured. That concerns me in the left guard position is bad. Our left guard is obviously not the greatest. So that left side obviously is concerning. how the Ravens running game for me is a key in the offense. How that running game attacks this Bengals defense, right? How is the Bengals defense gonna bite, right? Is the misdirection, is that misdirection gonna work against the Bengals? How is the discipline, right? That is important. And then how the secondary for the Bengals has been great. The Ravens have been playing good secondaries, right? The Patriots had a good secondary. They were good against the Patriots. The Bills have a good secondary. They were okay against the Bills. They weren't great. Conditions weren't favorable either because it was raining and windy. The Jets secondary, it is what it is. There are a lot of rookies, and that was their first game. So the secondary for the Bengals, I think, is a good test for the Ravens again and for Lamar. This game is, for me, it's a toss-up. The line is -3 right now for Ravens, -3. And that should be the line, right? -3 you get for being at home. They're telling you this is a neutral field. It's a 0, right? It's a toss-up. It's a pick-em game. I'm going to go with my boys. Am I super confident? No, I think either team can win. I think whoever wins is going to win by less than a touchdown. It could be 7, it could be 6, it could be 3. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a game that I'm waking up at 1 a.m. so I can watch this game. And I'm going to either be super happy or super frustrated. And I'm not going to sleep because, as I tell everybody, because people are like, oh, do you sleep afterward? I can't, because Ravens never play a blowout. So if it is a tight game,
there's nothing not to think about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a tight game. It's like the only time that I can sleep right away if the Ravens were winning by 20 all game, and then your mind is just relaxed, and then you can just straight to bed. But other than that, though, I can't sleep.
They gonna make Sonny stay up, and if Joe Burrow throw for 526, I'll be sick.
I'll be heated. No, but I mean last year that happened last year. Anyway,
at least that happened at 1 o'clock last year.
That is true. I think main thing, to be honest, main point for me will be, can the Ravens provide pressure to Burrow without blitzing? Because if you have pressure without blitzing and Burrow has to speed up, look at the Ravens turnovers right now. They are a team that is streaky in turnover. They will pick you up, right? And that will set up the offense. But if you don't provide pressure and Joe Burrow is vibing, I don't care how good your corners is, those receivers are going to get open, and Joe Burrow is going to find the guy. So that would be my thing. So one big guy for this game is Q's boy, Odafe Owe. If he comes big, could be a W. If he comes short again, it's probably a hot L. Okay, so we have, I think, one super chat. Let me see, because I don't want to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, okay, so this super chat here for Raven. Ron says, pass rush will be there to slow down Burrow. Again, that for me is the key. This is the main key of this game. Before we go, guys, don't forget our sponsor, True Classic, amazing t-shirts. You will not regret it. You will I put them on. It was amazing. I use them for work now, and they look good. They feel good. I definitely say you go check them out. Also, the Survivor link, I put it on the chat, but if you didn't grab it from there, it's on Twitter. We still have some spaces. I know after the other league got full, people are like, oh my God, can I get in? This is your chance. This is going to be the last league. There's still some spaces in. So go check them out. And we'll be back on Monday. Good luck for everybody here, minus the Bengals and the Browns and the Steelers. But the rest.
Wow. Why us? What you got against the Chargers?
You're first. No, I hate the Chargers. No, I don't hate the Chargers. The Chargers will find a way not to make the playoffs, right? So
see, they trying to not see us stay in first. Look, if y'all win, if y'all win and the Browns win, y'all can't be in first. We'll still be in first, right?
Yeah, you still have. I mean, we're tied. In theory, we're tied.
We'll tie. We'll be tied. What's the break?
You have it. No, you have it. We have 2 AFC losses. You only have 1. Right, your other loss was against the NFC.
Yeah.
So yeah. No,
need that Browns win, man. Need that Browns win. Because I know if the Bengals win, we're still in first place because we're better division record, right?
Yeah. Because the Bengals, they lost 1 and you haven't lost any. Anyway, last thing I will say, 2 key for both teams. If the Ravens lose, that will be 3 losses against the AFC. For tiebreaker purposes, not looking great, right? this early in the season. That's 3 AFC. That essentially puts even more pressure that you have to win the division. Because if you don't win the division, that is huge for tiebreaker. On the flip side for the Bengals, 2 AFC losses, which is not great, but even worse, I mean, this early in the season, but even worse, 2 losses in the division, which puts that winning the division a little bit harder. Even though it's early, those are 2 things to think about if you're either a Bengal or a Ravens fan. Hitting that gritty all Sunday night.
I want the Bengals to lose this because I want the gritty to die. I'm over the gritty.
I think the gritty has been overused. I mean, not for the Bengals.
Once Dabo Sweeney did the gritty, it was time to move on to a new dance. Like I understand, Jamal, you got a trademark. Well, you don't got it because it ain't your dance, somebody else's. But it's a trademark thing for you. But brother, come on, man, give us something else that ain't been destroyed, because the gritty has been destroyed. It's been destroyed faster than Yas Queen was. It's been destroyed faster than On Fleek was. I mean, it really died quick. Like people got on it so bad that it got ruined. The gritty's ruined.
By the way, and key injury too.
Once Mac Jones hit the gritty,
oh, that was it. That was it. Yeah, he murdered it. Bateman might not play. That's a key for the Ravens. Bateman might not play. Yeah, Bateman got injured on last.
I gotta switch my fantasy team
against Buffalo. He got injured against Buffalo. That's why he basically didn't play the 4th quarter. Anyway, guys, thanks. Oh wait, the poll. Where's the poll at? Bengals 56, Ravens 44 was the final vote there. Thank y'all for watching. See you next time.